Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Las Vegas Raiders 7-8, 2-5 on the road at the Indianapolis Colts 8-7, 3-4 at home at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Shout out to our guy Man Bear Pig gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. You are a good man. Thank you for supporting us. And Mikey B getting it, the firefighter. That's wonderful. Thank you, Man Bear Pig. Means a ton to us. Much love, my man. Much love, my man. All right, let's roll here. Raiders, Colts. Again, we're going to be using. What are the other 5 games that? Because I do want to know what Pinnacle's line movements are. So when we get to those, we will discuss.
One thing we haven't touched on. Do you know anything about weather this week? Is it going to be? I haven't even looked at weather reports or anything.
I've got weather for every single game.
Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing. There's no problems. I mean, if you think that, I guess the worst weather is in Chicago, but it's 34 Fahrenheit with 15 mile per hour winds at this point. I mean, it's.
Yeah. I was thinking more rain, snow, anything of that nature.
Nothing.
And
I'll drop each weather spot. Now things can change by Saturday, Sunday, but nothing. 1 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Raiders, Colts. So we have the Indianapolis Colts sitting as 3-point favorites here, -3 at -110. That's exactly where this was last Tuesday when it opened. Then there was some movement during the week towards the Colts. Then today there was nothing until this morning when there was a move towards the Raiders. And then there was a pretty big move around 5:42 p.m. where the Raiders, that +3 got up to -118, and then it moved back to the Colts. So that's where we stand right now. Almost no movement. Nick says Raiders off a big win. Colts need this game. If we get the hook, then Raiders are the play. Let's take a look at the total here for this Raiders spot. We have it sitting at 44. It's juiced to the under. This opened up a week ago at this exact same number. There's only been a 5-cent move in the week. Very, very interesting spot here. The Raiders coming off a 2014 victory at Kansas City. Aiden O'Connell was 9 of 21 for 62 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He didn't complete a pass after the first quarter. While I respect him playing within himself, I am shocked, still trying to piece together what the hell's going on in Kansas City. The Raiders became the first NFL team since 2000 to win without completing a pass after the first quarter. Only the 5th team to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium without scoring an offensive touchdown in the history of the stadium. Jacoby Myers caught 3 for 42. The rest of the team got 6 catches for 20 yards. With Josh Jacobs out, another example of something that Dennis Garcia said to us over and over again. And I hate it just for the running backs, but he's right. The running backs, they don't seem to matter. Zamir White came in around 22 times I've got this wrong. I think it wasn't 142 yards. I screwed this. I wrote down it wrong, but I know Zamir right. I think he ran for 142. He might even ran for 162. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. I messed that up. The offense only had 12 first downs with 3 coming through the air. The Raiders finished 3 of 12 on third down. Vegas is 27th in the league, converting just 35.2% of third downs. They were 0 of 3 in the red zone. They're 23rd in the league, scoring touchdowns on 50% of red zone drives. Malcolm Kuntz had 3 of the 4 Raiders sacks. As a team, they combined for 10 quarterback hits. Max Crosby getting all the attention. Finally, somebody else is stepping up on that pass rush. The defense was excellent throughout. Jack Jones returned an interception for a touchdown. Bilal Nichols returned a fumble for a touchdown. They held the Chiefs to 5 of 16 on third down. They're just 27th in the league, allowing opponents to convert 42.5% of third downs. That really hasn't changed in the Antonio Pierce era. The Chiefs were just 2 of 4 in the red zone. Vegas is 26th in the league, allowing opponents to score touchdowns on 64.1% of red zone chances. Where are the Raiders good? Because I can't find it statistically. The Colts come in off an ugly 29-10 loss at Atlanta. Gardner Minshew was 20 of 37 for 201 yards and a pick. He also ran 4 times for 31 yards, but the offensive line couldn't protect him and can't protect him. Minshew was sacked 6 times. Michael Pittman remained out of the lineup. He was cleared from concussion protocol on Friday. He travels with the team to Atlanta, and then he's ruled out Saturday after experiencing more symptoms. That tells me that getting cleared for this is going to be very difficult. Now, at least he's home. That gives him a better chance. He doesn't need to travel anymore, but that's a problem for Pittman because what happens when Pittman's not there? Kylan Granson and Will Mallory are your number one targets. That's a problem. Jonathan Taylor returned to the lineup, finished with 18 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Zach Moss out of the lineup, hoping to be back this week. The Colts were 5 of 14 on third down. They're 24th in the league, converting 36.1% third down opportunities. They were 1 of 2 in the red zone. They're 19th in the league, scoring touchdowns on 52.9% of red zone drives. The defense struggled all night, allowed the Falcons to put up 406 total yards. The pass rush did not look good. 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits. Falcons were 5 of 13 on third down. That's where these defenses have been very good all year. They're 10th in the league, allowing opponents to convert just 37.3% of third downs. They did hold the Falcons to 0-3 in the red zone. They're 14th in the league there, allowing touchdowns on 53.2% of red zone drives. The forearm injury from Zach Moss is the same arm that got hurt in preseason. We don't know how long he'll be out. And Julian Blackmon, questionable, their strong safety with a shoulder injury. Looking at these teams, the Colts statistically are a little bit better than the Raiders, and at home it should be 3-point favorites. And the problem is the Raiders have a lot of magic in them right now, and Antonio Pierce is delivering it. If I didn't get caught up in what the Raiders have done the last couple of weeks, I'd be all over the Colts right now, and I think I should be all over the Colts. But the Colts, I think the Raiders are a below average team. I only think the Colts are an average team. And if the Raiders win out and the Chiefs keep losing, look, the Raiders could win the division. Now, I know that's ludicrous, but it can happen. Take it away for us here, Troy. Raiders, Colts.
I think you're on to something here, Jimmy. I want to fade the damn Raiders. I want to fade them. I really want to fade them more. I'm just trying to quantify this price a little bit more. But something that I noticed with this Raiders team, go through their history, their game log this season. Who have they played that can run the ball or that has any type of advanced rushing scheme at all? They really haven't played anybody. And the only teams that run the ball at any success in their entire, history, their entire schedule, has only been the Patriots and the Dolphins. And we've seen both of those teams have success. I just think that I just can't imagine the Raiders are going to win 3 games in a row. They're coming off this massive win in KC. I've heard people in Las Vegas talk about seeing these guys out on the strip partying like they won the freaking Super Bowl. Short week, traveling to Indy. You talked about O'Connell, man. This guy didn't complete 1 pass in 3 quarters. Their defense put up all the points, protect the ball. I think Colts are destined to be heads up with Texas, with the Texans, with the conference on the line. And at home this season, Colts are putting up numbers. I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to score 20 points this game. The Colts excel defensively versus one-dimensional teams, the Pats, the Steelers, which I think are corollary to these Raiders, and have the rushing scheme. Like, I think the Colts are going to be able to run the ball. I wanted to fade this rushing attack, this rushing defense for the Raiders for many weeks now, but they don't play anybody that run the ball. I thought the Jets would run the ball versus them. I was wrong. They didn't do it. They should have. They would have won the game, but they didn't. I think the Colts blessed this team by double digits. If it moves to 3.5, somebody called it in the chat, then the Raiders are the play. I would say it's the quite opposite. If it moves to 3.5, the Colts are certainly the play in this game. I already moved on the Colts. I bet them at -3 for a half a unit. And I did move on Colts, Browns, moneyline parlay.
I agree with all of this. Now, the problem, and I've got to get past this. The problem is, Rye Cape and Mac Beavers at the exact same moment said letdown spot for the Raiders. I said that last week, and that's why I haven't moved on it yet. And then the other problem is this has become a real public spot early. 72% of the tickets, 87% of the cash, 72 and 87. I mean, wouldn't we want to see? I mean, we've seen no movement. Does that concern you at all?
Yeah. With this market, if this was the market on Sunday morning and when this game was about to kick off, I would say exactly what I told everybody to do in the Panthers and Packers game last week. Very similar spot where we see this number is going to land on 3. If we see a lot of sentiment towards the Colts here and it doesn't move off the 3, it lands on 3 over 50% of the time. I think 3 is a pretty damn sharp number. I have it at 3.5 personally. But that's not like that's driving my decision to back the Colts in this situation. It's really the spot.
It's a perfect spot for an average team to beat a below average team. I mean, I hate to simplify things to that extent.
Sometimes that's what you got to do.
And, you know, you could say the Raiders just went into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs, but you'll hear what, Troy thinks about, these Chiefs, and others have said the same thing. And I feel like I hurt you with your Chiefs action last week because I thought it was a get right spot against the Raiders team that was going to come crashing down. And I was very wrong. I
seen it the same way, and the database signed off on it. So it wasn't. It definitely. When I see Jimmy the Bag on something, I respect it immediately. So obviously, it had some type of influence, but not as much. Man, I pulled the trigger myself.
God, I came into that game 6-3 on the week, and I was All right. Okay, so I'm going to join you here on the Colts. And you have already moved on the Colts -3. And what was your parlay also? Colts
Browns.
And both on money line.
And yep, that Colts Browns is plus 118.
Okay.
My average line is starting to drop. And I think it's just a matter of time. It'll probably end up around towards the end of the season around -120. But I'm happy with where it currently is.
-120. It's impossible. I mean, plus
120.
Okay, yeah. It's an extremely impressive line, average line. It's very impressive. Reminds me of my old days in the NHL when I only did puck lines. Very impressive. Let's roll on.